What's up, guys? I hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for popping into my review for the 25th anniversary of Disney Animation Studios' Tarzan. This has always been one of my favorite Disney animated classics. It came out in 1999. I was just a kid when this came out. I remember watching this on VHS on repeat. This is a great film, and I think it's kind of underrated. When you hear people talking about the best animated movies, you're going to hear The Little Mermaid, you're going to hear Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King. Those are like the main four that I think people are talking about. But my personal favorite, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think is also a little underrated. You also have Tarzan, which is underrated. Disney doesn't have the rights to this anymore. So it's not like they can go ahead and add Tarzan into any of their new marketing material or anything, which I think is a little disappointing because this movie is excellent. The pace of it is fantastic. This movie is never dull. There's no fat in this movie. The animation is really beautiful. The backgrounds of the jungle are really beautiful. And the characters are excellent. Of course, you have Tarzan, who adult Tarzan is played by Tony Goodwin. You also have Minnie Driver as Jane, Brian Blessed as Clayton, one of the best Disney villains. This is a top 10 Disney villain for me. And he's probably not going to get in the conversation a lot, but you want to know what? I think he's a top 10. This is one of the most realistic, raw Disney villains. And Brian Blessed's voice performance as Clayton is a standout for me. He's fantastic in this movie. And I love the character mainly because of Brian Blessed's performance, but as well, he's very realistic, meaning like he's this guy that they hired to protect them in the jungle. One thing leads to another. He finds the opportunity. He wants to get rich off these gorillas. He's got a plan, and it doesn't really come out until the end of the movie. He doesn't really become the villain until the end of the film, even though you might have, hints throughout that he's got something up his sleeve. That final 10, 15 minutes of the movie when he shows his cards, it works for me. And I think the final showdown between Tarzan and Clayton is pretty iconic. He's got one of the best Disney villain deaths and one of the darkest Disney villain deaths where he slices the vines, where he basically falls to his death and he hangs himself. He kills himself, in his own anger and his own selfishness. He literally kills himself, and Tarzan's like, Clayton, no. Clayton, stop. Clayton, don't. Because he keeps on swinging to cut through the vines to get to Tarzan, falls to his death and kills himself. And you see the shadow of his dead hanging body in the background. Pretty dark. Disney will never do anything like that today. I think that's pretty unfortunate that they had the guts to do a lot of these things back in the day. But still, I mean, you still have it, and it's awesome. And the score by Mark Mancina as well is really incredible. And the songs, the original songs written by Phil Collins in this movie, it's one of the top 10 Disney soundtracks. You have so many bangers in this movie. Two Worlds, You'll Be in My Heart, Strangers Like Me, Son of Man, which is probably my favorite song of the soundtrack. He won the Oscar for You'll Be in My Heart, which is the more, emotionally resonant song of the film. And if we're talking about voice performances, Glenn Close as Kala in this movie is so powerful. That character is just so heartwarming and heartfelt, and she's like the heart of the movie. The relationship between Kala and Tarzan, that's the emotional core of the film. And every moment they have, especially the moment where she takes him back to the treehouse where he was found as a baby, and he gets to see the pictures of his parents. He finds out what happened, and he puts on his one of his father's outfits, and he decides to go. What a heartwarming scene, and just a beautiful scene. One of the best scenes of the film. And Sabor the leopard, I think, is also extremely menacing. The first half of the film, or the first act of the movie, really, you have Sabor as the villain, and then Clayton sort of takes the reins as villain, especially at the end of the film. So I just think the pace of this is great. I think the relationship between Tarzan and Kerchak is really phenomenal. By the end of the film, you feel it. It's totally earned. And I think the humor in this, this is some of the best humor in any Disney animated film. It's not forced. It works really well. Wayne Knight and Rosie O'Donnell in this movie as Tantor and Turk are one of the best duos and sidekicks and underrated sidekicks. So much of this movie is underrated, and I just think that it should be celebrated more. If they ever got the rights back to it, I think this would be an excellent 4K Blu-ray. I have it on Blu-rays where I watched it. I thought it looked great, but still, I think that this movie should get a Funko Pop line that Disney, I don't think, is able to put out. I mean, just we need more Tarzan stuff. Disney's Tarzan is, like I said, it's a top 10 Disney animated classic for me. This is an animated masterpiece. I think this is a great movie. I love it. And if this was Disney's movie that came out this year, it would be in like the top 5 of the year. I mean, this is a great movie, and I love it. It's extremely rewatchable. This movie gets 5 out of 5 stars for me. I don't have a single issue with Tarzan. This is a great, timeless movie, and it's one of the better films in the Renaissance. You know, you have the ones I mentioned before: Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Tarzan. Those 6, those are the top 6. Then you have Mulan, Hercules, Pocahontas, which are also really good, but I don't think they're the quality of the other ones that I just mentioned. So this movie is a winner. And if you want to get in the spirit for Moana 2, this is kind of why I'm reviewing all these Disney films. I reviewed 101 Dalmatians. I reviewed The Little Mermaid. Why did I review 101 Dalmatians? Well, Disney Animated Studios celebrated their 101st anniversary, so I kind of thought it made sense to kick off a tiny series of reviews for these Disney animated classics. The final one that I would like to do a review for is Tangled, because Alan Menken has a musical out now on Netflix called Spellbound, an animated musical. Maybe after Moana 2, some point I would like to talk about Tangled. So that's it. That's my thoughts on Tarzan. Guys, comment down below. What's your thoughts on Tarzan? What are some of your favorite Disney animated classics? As I mentioned, my favorite is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I am going to be seeing Moana 2 in style with my custom-made t-shirt for The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I get to represent my favorite Disney animated classic. Guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for a bunch of reviews coming in the future, awards type films, and big blockbusters. Also coming in the month of December. And guys, you can follow me on Twitter and or X at RyanKing72, and Instagram and TikTok at KingOfRises131. That's been it for me. Thank you so much for watching my review for the 25th anniversary of Tarzan. And until next time, over and out.